double hits all the time.
We are family.
Xers are double-digit Ks.
We're busting ours to kick yours.
Fun to watch.
Minus 15.
Respect all, fear none.
Into the upper deck.
Intensity is not a curfew.
Oh, mercy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There they are, everybody, the sights of spring. Spring training camp is already underway in Sarasota, Florida. What a beautiful sight. Look at the sun, the palm trees, everybody gathering in Sarasota for Brandon Hyde's first big league camp. A lot of new names and faces showing up in Sarasota this year, and they're ready to attack the new day and the new era of Orioles baseball. This is going to be an exciting one. You see pitchers and catchers. They reported on Tuesday. There's Josh Rogers, the young guy. There's Andrew Kashner, getting warm and getting ready. And we're all getting ready for spring. Spring training could not have come soon enough. The free agent market might not be settled quite yet, but pitchers and catchers are down in Sarasota, and that's the important thing. So this is a big spring training camp for a lot of young guys. A lot of positions are wide open as the Orioles gather in Sarasota, Florida. And Brandon Hyde is also showing up for his first spring training camp. He's got a lot to do as he takes the helm of the Orioles. Take a listen to what he said yesterday about dealing with the first spring training camp he's got as a manager.
These next 6 weeks are going to be really, really important, and we're going to dive into every single guy. And, obviously our roster's not set, and I think that we're going to go on past history, and past history is really, really important. But also like to see how these guys work and to not over-evaluate their performance and their statistics in spring training, but just watching them to see how they go about their business, as well as combining that with what they've done in the past. I think that that's all going to be part of the evaluation process.
What do you feel about some of these recent additions, Carnes and Young?
Yeah, I just had a meeting with Carnes. He's impressive, and I'm excited about EY Jr. too. I think that heard a lot of really good things. I've seen them both play. I have some close friends that have had both those guys in the past that say unbelievable things about both of them. So I'm excited to get them in here and watching them work out. We're going to compete. That's the bottom line: is to compete within each other on a daily basis out here. Compete when we break and go to New York. But that's going to be an overlying message is we're going to prepare and we're going to compete. No, it's been unbelievable. I think we've met with a handful of guys so far. We got 50-ish guys to go. But these individual meetings they're wonderful in the fact that you really get a one-on-one time, talk about a little bit about themselves, talk about their goals, kind of tell them how we feel about them at this point. Talk about what the things they're working on in spring training. So those one-on-one meetings are unbelievably valuable. There's a lot of really good veteran guys. The veteran guys here are unbelievable guys with high character, that are team first, that are egoless, that I'm going to rely heavily on from, we're going to have meetings. It's going to be it's collaborative on how the clubhouse feel is, how the work's going on the field, just the overall feel of the team. I'm going to rely heavily on them from their standpoint of how they feel about things.
I guess for you on a personal note, has it all set in? Like, this is your club, you're here. How cool is this now that it's getting going here this week?
You know what? I haven't had time really to sit back and just kind of relax and think about that. I think there's certain things along the way that, it's super cool, and I've worked hard to get to this point, and I feel great about where we are. I feel great about our preparation going into spring training. I'm just looking forward to, I think maybe tomorrow or the first day of full squad. It's when I stand there with a fungo, I'm like, this is our club. But yeah, honestly, I've been so busy that I haven't reflected too much.
Well, it's not just the first big league camp for Brandon Hyde as manager, but it's also the first big league camp for Mike Elias as general manager, and he's had a pretty tumultuous offseason. Keep in mind, he was still in Houston as of mid-November, came over, had to put the coaching staff together from ground zero, essentially. got that together, and now he's just focused on what the Orioles have in-house.
There's a lot of optimism in terms of a fresh start and a big opportunity. We're going to be taking a fresh look at really every position on the diamond. As you see, there's a lot of competitors for each spot, and this camp's going to be, essentially an open competition wherever you look. And so it's exciting for a lot of the young guys and the new guys here because they know they got a chance to win a job. It makes camp fun, and it makes camp interesting. When you have a very established roster, you're more concerned with ramping guys up and keeping them healthy. And for the younger players, it might not be very realistic for them to win a job, but that's not the case here. So it's going to be really cool in terms of this is in many ways a tryout for a lot of these guys for a major league position. I think so. I mean, we're explaining to them that we're expecting to roll out a lot of advanced tools, analytics tools over the course of the year. It's not going to be an instantaneous thing. We do have some stuff that we are rolling out right now and is ready to go, but there's going to be more coming. And they're excited about it because this is a tough division, and all of the other opponents in our division are using this information as well. So they're welcome to it. They're open to it. They know that we have a coaching staff here that has experience using this information, realistically and in individual terms rather than like a cookie cutter approach. So the reception has been great on that front so far, but we're preaching a little bit of patience with it as we get this stuff built.
How close would you say this roster is to being set, this camp roster?
I think that there's a good chance that this is our camp roster, but there's a lot of players out there, as we all know. So we're continuing to eye that. I do feel like we have the numbers and the talent that we would want in terms of competitions for every position on the diamond. So we feel good about the amount of guys that we have and the mix of guys that we have for every open spot. But certainly we're going to keep our eye on any availability to improve our organization. As far as we want, if we're making a move on the roster, we want to feel like we're making some incremental improvement. I don't want to just get guys off the roster because we're trying to change things. And there are good players here. We want to try to help the players that are here. We see things in these guys that we like. We want to have spring training to kind of all of us lay our eyes on them. And, it just resulted in a relatively, minor winter in terms of activity. And we also had a lot going on, and we were hiring a manager and a major league coaching staff. I didn't get in here until November. We hired an international scouting director. We're hiring analytics people. We've got infrastructure projects going on. So there's been a lot, and we didn't want to, make any decisions with the major league roster that we'd regret just because we were a little naive.
From the management to the players, Mark Trumbo has had a very interesting offseason. It's his first full offseason as a father. Congratulations, Mark. And he's also recovering from knee surgery after he missed the last month or so of the season. He's had a tough offseason while he recovers from that, but he's looking at the long view and still eyeing opening day as his potential return date.
Everything's still good with the knee since we talked to you?
Yeah, we've got some really good work down here. I've been down here for a week and a half now, working with Brian Abel and the rest of the staff. And there's been nothing to kind of hold us back. So we're kind of ramping it up. I hit on the field today and been throwing. So I think we're sprinting will be the next kind of hurdle, and I think we're getting to that. When I think about it, it's a little weirder. I guess, for example, I was probably 7 or 8 years older than anybody in the cage today, but it's really good. What I like most about this is there's a lot of competition, and I think that's one of the best things that can happen to any club is to have a lot of fighting for positions. I think that's going to get the best out of everybody, and there's hardly any spots that are really totally wrapped up here. There's a few that are probably spoken for, but a lot of it's kind of wide open. So we'll see how it goes. I think there's a lot of guys that are ready to work, ready to learn, and I think that everyone kind of understands where we're at as a team, and the challenges that are going to be coming. But especially for some of these guys, like I mentioned, that are in the mix for a spot. they're going to fight it out, and you want them to fight it out till the end of spring, and whoever probably plays the best will get that job, and that usually gives you a chance to have a pretty good season too. It's a confidence builder to win a spot out of spring, and I think that we're going to be better for it.
You mentioned obviously you'd rather be competing for a division title. Do you think about on July 31st you conceivably could be doing that if you are healthy and playing well, that you might be one of those guys?
Sure, that's anything is completely possible. What I do know is that I think especially our starting rotation is capable of going out and doing some really good things, and I think these guys have done it before. And I still believe in this age of some of the pitching stuff's a little trending differently, but good starting pitching, it's invaluable. So if these guys kind of play to their norms, we're going to be a really a team that's capable of a lot better than maybe we did last year.
All right, enough of the players and coaches. Let's get to the guy that we've all been waiting for, MASNsports.com's Rock Ibaka, reporting from Sarasota, Florida. Well, I promised him, so here he is. Rock Ibaka from Sarasota, Florida. First and foremost, Rock, where are you and why is there a green screen behind you?
Yeah, we finally found a dry spot here at the Ed Smith Stadium complex. It's been raining outside, and other than a little tent that's set up to protect the grill or the smoker that they have outside the workroom, there's really no place to go, so we found the production room here with the green background. Apparently you can put anything there now. So be gentle, because I'm afraid you guys are going to start messing with me with this green background.
Yeah, Rock is actually starring in the newest Avengers movie, so be sure to see that soon. Aside from the rain, Rock, what else is happening in Sarasota? How have these first couple days of O's spring training camp gone?
There hasn't been very much, actually. I mean, yesterday was the official report date for pitchers and catchers. Of course, a lot of these guys already got here earlier. Some position players are already here. But really, it's been guys taking physicals today. Some players went out and did some early hitting in the cage yesterday when the weather allowed it, and shagged fly balls, did some throwing, running, some very light workout stuff. But it's really supposed to kick in today. That's when you can get the first workout where everybody's able to take the field that passed or took their physical, and we're expected to see a lot of activity, and the weather's just not allowing it, and that's our typical luck. I think it followed us from Camden Yards, all this rain. So things will obviously pick up later, and then of course the first full squad workout is on Monday, and we'll get a better feel for how this camp's going to be run.
Well, Rock, this is the first camp not run by Buck Showalter in a long time. Brandon Hyde taking over at the helm. I know it's early, but what do you expect from Brandon Hyde in his first big league camp as manager?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. We're going to actually need to see whether he's going to be going from station to station. He mentioned something about carrying the fungo bat around, so I guess that will be similar to Buck, because that was sort of his trademark. But we'll wait and find out whether he's actually going to run the bunting drills himself and things like that Buck always used to do. I think he's going to be busy. I think he's going to be very hands-on, but also everything's a collaborative effort around here. That's been the catchphrase. You could get that on a T-shirt. So I'm sure he's going to delegate, and a lot of these coaches will have their different responsibilities. It's not going to be him having to do everything. He trusts the people with him, but he's run major league camps before, but he's never done it as a manager, so we're kind of curious how that's going to go. I think he's a little curious as well. He did say that it was really going to hit him that he is a big league manager for the first time once he's out on the field and the workouts start and he can kind of look around everywhere. But we're curious how it's going to compare to Bucks, whether they're going to go longer, shorter, media access, pretty much everything. Whether he's going to come up and just start talking to us like Buck used to do in the middle of a workout where he'd wander over, just engage in conversation, or whether it's going to be more business-like and a little more standoffish. So stay tuned.
Well, Rock, on MASNsports.com this morning, you wrote an article about the battle for catcher and the 6 guys angling for that starting spot. And since that article, Caleb Joseph went and signed a 1-year deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. How do you see this competition working out with the Orioles?
Yeah, good for Caleb, by the way. $1.1 million guaranteed if he makes a major league club, so that's good. The Orioles had negotiated a minor league deal with him, and he turned it down, and it wisely held out and got a better deal. But right now, there's supposed to be 6 catchers in camp, but Jesus Sucre actually has visa issues, so he's still in Venezuela. His locker was empty today, and there was no nameplate, so that caused a little bit of a stir. A couple of the catchers on each side of his locker were looking around saying, like, what happened here? Like, where did he go? I think maybe the assumption was visa issues, and that's what it is. But he'll eventually, we expect to report to camp, and it's a wide open competition. Like I wrote this morning, usually it's the backup job where you have the competition. You already know who the starter is going to be, and then you're looking for, all right, who's going to be the backup, and people generally yawn and say, who cares, but it's still a roster spot. But this one could go where we don't know who the starter is, we don't know who the backup is. It could go in any sort of pairing among these 6. I know they want at least 1 plus defender in that group, and there are a few of them here, of course, including Sucre, Carlos Perez. Austin Wynns has that reputation. Chance Cisco doesn't, but he has the highest offensive ceiling, so there's a chance you could pair him with one of the better defenders. They could decide he'd benefit more from playing every day in AAA than being a backup here if he isn't the starter. There are a lot of different ways they can go here, so we're really curious about that as well, how it's going to play out. I don't know if there's any other camp that has this type of catching competition where you don't have at least a guy who you can say he's a favorite to be a starter right now. I don't think anybody has emerged, whether it's because of limitations in some part of their game or just a lack of experience.
Well, there he is, Rock Ibaka, reporting from Sarasota, Florida. Very rainy Sarasota, Florida at the moment. Thank you to Rock, and thanks to you for tuning into MASN All Access. We'll be back later this week with another report from Sarasota and Orioles spring training camp.